After the Season 2 update, we're going to be going over what are the best 6 close range weapons to be using inside Warzone. We're mainly going to be focusing on SMGs because I do think they are the best overall. So if you do enjoy content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 50k subscribers. Click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. And also, if you want more details in terms of TTKs when it comes to the SMGs that are currently inside Warzone, you could definitely check out our spreadsheet, which will be linked in the description down below. We have all the TTKs of pretty much every single SMG that's currently inside the game at the moment, and there wasn't any adjustments to actual chest shot damage TTKs, so all these values should still be correct unless there's any hidden changes, so definitely just keep that in mind when you're using this. But like I said, we will update this as we continue to go out through Season 2. Starting off this list at number 6 is the MAC-10. The MAC-10 is just a super reliable gun. It's got a fast fire rate which makes it very forgiving. It doesn't really kill like the super quickest, but if you are already aiming down sights and firing, you're going to get past that open bolt delay and you will get a very consistent time to kill. So this gun is very good, very easy to use, and on top of that, it's kind of like a really good mid-range gun as well because the iron sights are super clean. So if you do want to use it kind of from more mid-range, I'd recommend swapping out the sound suppressor for the agency. You'll get a little bit more recoil control that way. But this build is mainly for an SMG build if you're going to pair it with an assault rifle, for example, because that is the way I mainly use all my SMGs anyway. So you do want to use the standard sound suppressor for the faster ADS times and the better sprint to fire, because you do need the better movement now because the Vanguard guns just have pretty much too many attachments that you can keep track of. You want the task force barrel for the better strafing speeds because the stocks no longer help. The stock I would go with is the no stock, or you can go for the wire stock, and that's going to help with sprint to fire times and just get your gun up much quicker. And I do think it's a really important stat. That's why I think no stock is the better option. Plus it looks a little bit cleaner on the gun as well. Then we've got the Stanag 53 round drums, which is the best mags for the MAC-10. We all know this by now. And the Bruiser grip, which is the best movement attachment when it comes to Cold War SMGs. So at number 5, we have a gun that I do think is going to take up the meta spot, especially with this build right here. Now, it did get a buff to its neck shot damage, and some of the barrels actually got buffed as well in terms of recoil control. So you can actually build this gun to be a really good SMG, and we all know how good the movement on the Sten is as well. So in terms of the muzzle, recoil booster for the faster fire rate, which means a faster TTK. I went for the rapid barrel because it actually helps with horizontal recoil control now as well, and it also gives you a faster fire rate, so it's almost a no-brainer. And it does con your sprint to fire, but that's not a huge con. When it comes to optic, we're choosing the iron sights. You could choose an optic if you like, but I prefer iron sights. It just gives it a much cleaner look. Then when it comes to the stock, the Gawaiian Para is the best for not really conning your recoil too much, but it does also give you all those movement speed benefits. So you want to go for the Gawaiian Para stock. When it comes to perks, I would have chosen something that would help with recoil if it was available, but in the case for the Sten, we don't really have that, so I'm choosing Steady, but Gung Ho is also a really good option as well. Perk 2 is always quick for SMGs. When it comes to the rear grip, usually I use the grooved grip on SMGs for the strafing speeds, but in this case I'm actually choosing the Pine Tar grip for the recoil control, because like I said, this gun is going to have an absolute ton of recoil, so you do want to try and control that as much as we can, and it also helps with fire accuracy as well. When it comes to the magazine, the 32 round mags in my opinion are the best. You do run out of these mags really quickly though, but you do get that super fast fire rate, which makes this gun absolutely fry at close range, and is very forgiving too, so that is why I do like the Grenko 32 round mags. It also helps with recoil as well. Hollow point rounds now on every Vanguard SMG because the incendiary rounds got nerfed into the ground. They're no longer good at all, so hollow point is always the way to go. You can always choose lengthened as well for better bullet velocity. That's never really a bad thing, but I do think if you want to get consistent TTKs, hollow point is the way to go. And then the hand stop. Now usually I would choose like a pistol SME grip or something like that, but in this case, like I said, it's got a ton of recoil. We want to control it as much as possible. The M1 hand stop will be the better option in this case, so that is the best build for the Sten. Now, as much as I do think Vanguard weapons are the close range meta, there is a couple of weapons that are pretty decent still at the moment. So the Modern Warfare MP5 is still a solid SMG to use inside Warzone at the moment. It's got a really good TTK potential. It's got super low recoil if you're using it at kind of close to medium range. And with this build, it's more of like an SMG paired with an assault rifle build, but you can build it to get some recoil control out of it as well. But this build is the monolithic integral suppressor, the 5mm laser, also the collapsible stock, the stipple grip tape, and the 45 round mags. Now the reason why I don't use the Merc 4 grip, as we've used a lot previously, is that it cons your movement speeds, and we don't want any cons to movement speeds, especially with modern warfare guns. They're the slowest out of every single game. So for example, Cold War weapons and Vanguard weapons, so you don't want to slow your gun down that much. The other guns like the Sten, for example, move so quickly that you won't be able to keep up. So you do need to make this kind of like a movement build, more or less. So this is the build I would recommend for the MP5. At number 3, we have a severely underrated SMG with the Lapa. Now, I see a lot of people still running around with the OTS, and that's because they like Cold War guns, which is fair enough. But the issue is the OTS is an absolute terrible gun now, and I would not recommend using it over the Lapa. If you do want to use a Cold War gun, the Lapa is the best option here. So sound suppressor for the sound suppression, faster aim down sight speed, faster sprint to fire speed, all that good stuff. BR compact barrel. Now this is going to give you the best possible TTK with this gun, so that's why you want to use the BR compact. Then when it comes to optic, the microflex LED, because the iron sights are absolute garbage on this. I wish they made the iron sights good on this gun so that we could actually use this attachment slot elsewhere. I like using iron sights personally. When it comes to magazine, the 50 round mags or the 40 round mags, both are really good options. It's just going to come down to whether you want to have a faster ADS or not. Either or are really good options. Bruiser grip is the best for Cold War movement, and it can absolutely compete with the top 2 guns on this list. At number 2, we have the well gun, and the well gun is definitely a solid SMG inside Warzone. It's probably got the fastest TTK out of any SMG in the game, I think, other than the Modern Warfare AUG. But like I said, definitely a really good gun to use. And now that the main barrel has been fixed, we can now use this and get some clean iron sights out of it as well. They also added iron sights to this weapon as well, so it's going to make it even more viable. So when it comes to the muzzle, you want to use the recoil booster as always, because you get the faster fire rate, faster TTK. When it comes to the barrel, you definitely want to use the shrouded barrel this time. I know people are going for the Guyan short for the faster fire rate, but it does con your damage as well. So you'd rather get the recoil control, you'd rather take the shrouded barrel. It's the best one, and it's going to give you better damage ranges as well, especially since the damage range on this gun did get nerfed. For optic, you want to use the iron sights now that they are available, or you can still continue to use an actual optic if you prefer, but I'm just an iron sight user. I do just think it looks a lot cleaner. For the stock, I am using the remove stock here for the better movement speeds on this gun. Because we're using the drum mags, you do need faster movement speeds back in the weapon, and this is the way to do it, to use the removed stock for the faster movement and aim down sight times. You want to use fleet because it's going to give you better movement speed and weapon swap quickness. If you're using amped, obviously you probably might want to switch that out maybe for combat scout or something if you're using it with your perks. But I do think fleet is the best, or you can use gung ho as well. Both are really good options. Perk 2, quick always. Rear grip, groove grip, I always use this as well for SMGs for the most part. When it comes to the magazine, the 64 round mags are the fastest TTK mags for this weapon, so you do want to use the 64 round mags. And then hollow point instead of incendiary now, because like I said, it hurts the damage an absolute ton now. You don't want to use incendiary anymore. Hollow point is the way to go. And then the pistol SME grip, or if you're still struggling with recoil, you can use the carver grip. If you're struggling with ADS times, you can use the skeletal grip. So there's a lot of options when it comes to the underbarrel grips, but my personal favorite is the pistol SME grip. Last but not least, at number 1, we have still the MP40. Now, even though this gun has got a couple of nerfs, it was pretty much super overpowered to begin with, and now it's just kind of overpowered, but it's still probably the best SMG in the game in my opinion. This build, I've only adjusted a few things, if I'm being perfectly honest. With the stock, people do like the folding stock more than the removed stock, but I just like the better movement speed you get with the removed stock, if I'm being perfectly honest. When it comes to optics, I'm choosing the iron sights. You can choose whatever you like. To be honest, this gun just does well regardless. You could choose even a long range optics and it's still going to do really well. When it comes to the barrel, the Krosnik barrel is always the best way to go. You don't really need to choose anything else. The Krosnik is still the main meta barrel for this gun. Recoil booster, as always, like I said, for the faster TTK. When it comes to underbarrels, again, you've got a couple of different options. You can either choose the Carver foregrip for better hipfire accuracy, if that's what you like doing. You can either choose the skeletal if you like a faster ADS time, which will help with this weapon. It already has a pretty decent ADS in my opinion. You could choose the M1 hand stop as well if you want to build this for more sniper support, so that's another really good option too. But I personally prefer the pistol SME grip for the better hip fire accuracy and sprint to fire times. Magazine, you definitely want to go for the 45 round mags. That is the best mags for the TTK of this gun, so make sure you go for the 45. Hollow point, like I said, because incendiary was nerfed. Groove grit once again for the better movement speeds, but if you are building this as sniper support, maybe the pine tar will be a good option as well. And then when it comes to the perks, steady in my opinion is the best if you're building this for an SMG. You could choose perfectionist if you're using this as sniper support. And then quick is perk 2, and this is definitely the best SMG in the game in my opinion. So there we have it. Those are the best 6 close range guns inside Warzone at the moment. If you enjoyed this video and you learned something new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 50k subscribers, and also click that link in the description and subscribe to our second channel. Also, we will be making a sniper guide video as well to go over all the new updates, but that will take a bit of time once we get some testing done, and thank you very much for watching.